not attend this rally. By doing that, shows that they are forming some sort of a dictatorship. This is a violation of our constitutional rights. Even the student employees of the MNR were not allowed to attend this rally, and we had a few of them in the Gogama area that wanted to be here. So if the MNR can say to them, if you attend that rally in Foleyet, you lose your job on Monday, don't come to work. Well, what about if they are Catholic and they say to them, if you go to church on Sunday, don't show up to work Monday? This is what I mean. This is what the MNR tactics are. Scare tactics. These people that were forced to sign these agreements not to attend this rally, they have to work. They need a job, they have families to support, they have tuitions to pay. So this is really unfair, what the MNR has done to them. So we live in the north here because we enjoy the north. We enjoy the 4 seasons. The fall, hunting, trapping, the winter ice fishing, trapping, spring walleye, summer vacations, camping. And the way things are going right now with the current MNR, closing all these roads and denying us access, it's happening all over the province. Not allowing us to hunt until the outfitters fill their abundance of tags, and some get away with more tags than what their share is, and we as residents of Northern Ontario will have it all, will lose it all, or be confined to areas of overhunting, overfishing, forced to camp on campgrounds which are more like small cities, and paying high fees to be in these areas. When do we take a stand and say enough is enough? There is something wrong with the system, and it has to change, or we all lose. My grandchildren will not be raised in front of a TV or playing video games. They have the same right to enjoy the outdoors as I did. I, for one, will not be stopped. Let's get this mess cleared up and leave a legacy for our offspring that they can be proud of. We have a long way to go, and it starts here, right now. Let's get it done.
I just want to acknowledge that there's no doubt there's a pile of people today who have joined OntORA, and I hope you realize we have 2 major objectives re-OntORA since I have been elected president in April. We want to increase our membership, and we want to increase our legal funds, because there is no doubt that may not be this year, may not be next year, we're going to court, okay? And because we've talked since 1983 and action hasn't come forth, I don't want to sound radical here, but there's no doubt that our enemy is not remote tourism. They operate a business, and I know what they want. They want to keep on keeping it for themselves. It's understandable because they run a business. But the problem is our MNR. That is our problem, and that's who we're concentrating our efforts on, okay? Not that the MNR CO that's out in the field is your enemy. He's got to enforce the rules and regulations like an OPP does on the highway. It's the fact that these rules and regulations have not been challenged in a court of law, and we're heading for that direction. Now, for those of you who are members of OntORA, you're well aware of what I, as president, and our executive have decided to do. We're looking for $100 per member, and you got to remember that $100 is like 3 cases of beer. If you lose the $100, now you may lose, by the way. No court of law says we're going to win. But if we don't put an effort with money, we don't have much of a chance. Okay? That's the way the cookie crumbles. And some people, and I just happen to look in the room right now, and I see someone who today brought me a check for the sum of $500, okay? He doesn't necessarily want to be acknowledged personally. He owns a business. He owns a business in Timmins, and his business is precision boring, okay? They do quality, highly precision work. Anyway, he felt that he should give us this $500 for members. So we're going to get at least 35 members out of one person out of Timmins. And by the way, if that isn't a credit to us to increase our membership, I don't know what is. Okay? And good old Roger over there, who's the director for Timmins, says, wow, I got to be credited for this because, I mean, he's from my town, Timmins. I said, yeah, no problem. We'll send Roger here a citation of some sort, telling him how good he is. Okay, that's basically what we want to do. I know that for some of you, $100 is way too much. And we're not just looking for $100, okay? We're looking for whatever you can give. It doesn't have to be $100, but we're going to put that in the legal fund. That means that if we don't go to court, if somewhere along the line we cannot accumulate enough money, and I'll tell you in a minute what we need from our lawyers, we can't, then therefore we're going to refund that money. And it is in our Constitution, and in our Constitution it's written as such. Just hang in there, okay? In our Constitution it says, any leftover funds, supplies or chattels will be dispersed back to the membership in a fair and equitable way. Remaining legal funds that have been set aside will be returned back to the contributor first. This shall be done by a certified accountant whose disbursement decisions shall be final. So in other words, when you give $100, I mean, I know you're giving out $100, and if we go to court and we lose in court, you've lost $100. I mean, but you have to weigh all that, okay? If we don't go to court at all, if we just say, to hell with it, let's just keep on mouthing off like we have for all those years, then I want you to know that more than likely, we'll never get anywhere in another 15 years. Just the way the cookie crumbles. That's what the message I'd like to pass on to you, okay, if so. We naturally have a constitution. It's in the, when you get to OntORA, if you go to the website, ontora.ca, you will see that on there. And I know there's an awful lot of you who say to me, listen, I don't have no darn computer, and I don't have any means of accessing a computer. And how do I know what OntORA is doing? I just like to point out to you that we send out at least 3 or 4 times in a year a newsletter to you people. We call it snail mail, but whatever. It is like we just send out a 13-page one that describes our constitutions, our meetings we've had, answers questions about who we are, that sort of thing, and tells you where we're going. Now, I'm forgetting a couple of people here that are fairly important that I'm thinking of right now, who are well aware of this Oswald situation. We have a trapper and his wife, Lou Magnuson and his wife. Where would they be? Okay, there's Lou. Where's Carol? She doesn't sit. She's the old one trapper on the line. She doesn't sit with him because he's only the old 3. But anywho, they're in a position where the ministry came in and decommissioned their trail that has been there for 20 to 25 or more, 25 to 30 years, I'm told. Now, John Reardon is another man here who used to own Moosehorn Lodge, I believe, I'm right. Would John please stand up? Where is John? Reardon. He's back there with that, okay. He, by the way, knows the history of this area, and part of the reason why Foleyet was selected as the area in which we're going to do some demonstration, if you like, this kind of rally, is because the unrest here is greater in the whole chaplain. I'm going to read out 9 infractions that occur with the Chapleau M&R in a few minutes, but not right away. But I just want to point out to you that Chapleau turns out to be our worst district. Wawa is really bad, by the way. We have a CLUA project, and some of you know about it, and others don't know. It's called Crown Land Use Atlas Harmonization. And what that does, this area doesn't have donuts around their lakes. Up there, they have donuts. A donut is an area that you can't go for a 3 kilometer or a 2 kilometer buffer zone, right around the lake. That's even worse than what you have here. But wait till I tell you some of the terrible things that are happening here, and you'll realize that, wow, Chapleau is in worse shape. And I've just found that out. Some of it I found out only in the last 2 days. And I think I'm informed. I have a folder this thick on the Chapleau because I was kicked out of a lake called Little Miss and Abbey. Well, anyway, I'm not going to tell you my whole life story here. But anyway, these are terrible things that are occurring in the district. Now, before I say much more, I'd like Bonnie here, our Vice President, to say a few words to the crowd, okay?
Hello, everyone. I let Mike do all the talking, as you can see. But I came to this project because Willie and I, we own 2 businesses, and we do ATV tours, and we're no longer able to go through to the towns because it makes too much noise for the remote outfitters, and we're 4 miles away from their lakes. So it's really an issue there that's hurting a lot of people. This issue is hurting friends and neighbors work for the M&R. This is not what Canada is about. We're supposed to be make friends, keep peace, and enjoy yourself. And Crown land is one of the freedoms that we have as Canadians. Now, we don't want to go and close up any outfitters. We're reasonable people, but when you're pushed far, you have to start fighting back, and that's what we're doing now. We're going to do it peacefully, and the best way is through the courts. There's a lot of issues we have on file and documented where there's been conflict of interest, many items, and members are forwarding us stuff every day. And we have a good arsenal to go and have a meeting with the M&R and ask for an audit. That's what our intention is. They need to have an audit done on the M&R of policies, procedures, and it needs to be fixed up from the bottom all the way to the top. And I see that they're doing a lot of stuff that they're not really helping us. They should be stocking more lakes. There's a lot more things that could be out there to help instead of always fighting, burning up beams and making trouble. The most Canadians respect. There's always a few idiots out there that are going to do what they want when they want anyway. We can't stop those kind of people. But most people are reasonable and will apply. And this land is not in such bad shape. It's been here for how many years? And really, hey, we still have a lot of it left and in good shape. We haven't really ruined it. So that's where we're going with this. And at this time, I'd like to present Jill Bichon, member of the NDP party, with some petitions that we collected. There's over 3,000 petitions here that was done in our area, Deweyville, Chapleau, Hornpain, and I'd like to mention Dubreuilville. They were the smallest little town, but they got the most. I think they went to everybody. Everybody's house knocked on doors, and so there was another man too, Frank's last name, from not Manitowoc.
Reiser?
Yes.
Frank Reiser from Hornpain?
Right, he went around knocking on everybody's door as well. So Jill, I'd like you to present these and give them to Linda Jeffries and tell her that these people, we're not hotheads, they're just, we want to get this straightened out. And also, people in Hornpain worked hard. All their kids have drawn pictures here for the M&R. Really good artwork. These kids are 7 years old and they're telling the world what this rule is doing to them. So I present them too from Hornpain Children. Thank you. Thank you, Joe.
It's always, did you see what I was going to do here? It's always nice to take a break because I had forgotten to mention about our law firm, and I think it's important for some of you who think that we're just bluffing or we're just talking. I'd like to point out to you that a while back, a year or so ago, or about 2 years ago, we hired a firm called Aird and Burles out of Toronto, and we have a lawyer called Robert Dumani in that group. They're a very expensive group of lawyers, but these lawyers have already cost us $8,000, and that was only to bring us to where they think we should proceed. And